You might think that finding an investor for your apparel brand is a shortcut to a big payday, when it could possibly be a suicide mission. Let's break down today why selling out your apparel brand could mean the end of it. The Business of Apparel podcast is your one-stop shop to learn how to launch, grow, and scale your apparel brand. I'm your host, Rachel Erickson. Now let's jump in. Welcome back to the Business of Apparel podcast, where today I want to break down a little bit about investment dollars. And if you are thinking about getting investors or a financial partner to come into your business, I want you to know a couple of different scenarios that I've been seeing going on out in the market, and I want you to notice them as red flags. So the most common issue that I tend to see when people are going for investment dollars is they think that means they can go spend all of that money right away. And first of all, when you are pitching to investors or you are looking for a venture capitalist or an angel to come in and put money into your business, you will likely have to pitch something to them, right? You're going to have to put together a little bit of a proposal. You're going to have to know your financials. You're going to have some details about why they would want to invest in you. And the best idea that I can give you here is that you should really have a financial roadmap, a practical, realistic financial roadmap that they can review so that when you actually get their money, they know that you are going to be using it intelligently. Now, I think the problem with what a lot of apparel brands want to do is they want to bring in millions of dollars so that they can grow super, super rapidly. We were working with a client a few years ago who was looking for $5 million to bring into his company. And that $5 million wasn't going to go into hiring the right team members. It wasn't really going to go into paying off his debt, which it should have. What it was going to go to was more inventory, more styles, more development for stuff that his customers weren't asking for. And so if this is part of your plan, you want to get a bunch of money, you are going to maybe continue staying a little bit in debt. You continue to not really have the right people on your team. You continue to have maybe junior level partners who aren't elevating your brand, who aren't getting your marketing out in the right way, who aren't amplifying sales in the right way, who aren't creating high quality products that will last in your customer's closet forever and ever. If your plan isn't to invest in those kinds of things with investment dollars or someone coming in, or, right now we're calling it selling out, even though that's such a bad term because so many of us inside our businesses need money. And if we can bring someone in who believes in our brand, could be a great partner to us when the time comes by helping us with the business, helping us with financials, helping us learn what they know about the business world. If we can bring someone in to do that, more power to you. I think it is a great opportunity to bring in. However, if you're the type of owner who's been bootstrapping, you don't exactly know where this money is going to go, or you think it is all immediately going to go to bigger batches of inventory so that you can just sell more, I want you to know that this is where most brands die on the vine. And it's because that inventory isn't proven yet. The new styles aren't proven yet. You don't have enough customer proof or data to say, if I bring more in, if I bring this much more in, I'm going to be able to sell it all. Unfortunately, whether you want to hear this or not, building an apparel brand is something that happens over time. And it's something that is a slow growth plan. It is not a get rich quick scheme. I know there are a ton of bros out there on YouTube telling you that you can get rich quick by making a streetwear brand, screen printing t-shirts, and collecting all of the money by doing drop shipping. Now, if that is something that you want to do, I encourage you to go try it. You can watch their YouTube videos. They are telling a lot of the same messages that I am here on the Business of Apparel podcast and on my own YouTube channel. They're just doing it from a streetwear perspective. If you want to make your own bespoke apparel and it's something that your customer hasn't seen before, or it's something that you haven't proven yet, it is going to be really hard for you to just dump a bunch of money into inventory that you don't 100% know that you can sell. Now, something smart that might be really smart here if you were to get investment dollars. I think a couple ways that are the best ways to spend investment dollars are to, number one, invest in your own learning. Invest in a program that is going to allow you to learn what you need to learn to become the CEO of your company's dreams. I think investing in learning is one of the smartest investments that we can make as entrepreneurs and business owners. Now, I always fluctuate through this. I go through heavy periods of learning where I have like a one on one business coach all the time. And then I have to kind of step back and say, okay, now I'm going to take all this information and I need to implement it before I get to the next level. And then I need a coach at that next level. I need a program at that next level. I need a course at that next level. I need to figure it out what it is that I'm missing so that I can go learn the next right thing. But I think that is a great way to spend some investment dollars because it is always going to come back to you. It is always going to come back, compound those learning opportunities that you give yourself as an apparel owner are going to be exponential. The next thing that I always encourage my clients to put their investment dollars into is team. Because as becoming the CEO of your brand, the owner of your brand, you want to stop being the day-to-day operator. You want to stop doing the marketing, the social media. You want to stop doing the sales, the customer service. You want to stop doing the product development and the production management. If you can start taking a lot of that off of your plate, you get to step into a leadership role where you are now not just even managing all of those people, you are leading them toward a goal, toward a vision for the brand. You are holding the entire big picture for what your brand can do and is doing on a regular basis. And so if you can bring people in with those investment dollars to take that work off of your plate, you are going to notice a couple different things. Number one, there should always be an ROI on whoever you hire. Now, that doesn't always mean money ROI. So return on investment for a salesperson, for example, it should probably equal money. Like you should be bringing in a salesperson and giving them goals and key performance indicators that tell them how much money you need them to be making in for the month, for the week, whatever. Marketing should be similar, right? We should be looking at goals that eventually lead to monetary growth. However, when it comes to like product development or it comes to customer service or it comes to something else a little bit more time-based, what that should be doing is giving you an ROI on your time. So they are giving you your time back. And if you can hire product developers and people like that who can come in as experts and genuinely like jump in today and do a better job than you are doing because that's their expertise, that is a great way to spend your investment dollars.
Can I tell you something I've noticed? After over 20 years in the apparel industry, I can usually predict the problems a founder is going to run into before they even happen. The wrong hire, the inventory mistake, the margin issue hiding behind what looks like a sales problem. And lately, I've been wishing I had a place to share more of those observations with you. That's why I created the Apparel Founders Boardroom Notes on Substack. Every week, I'm sharing the lessons, patterns, trends, and founder insights I'm seeing right now. The things I don't always have time to fully unpack on the podcast. Think of it as my weekly memo from the field or from inside the apparel industry. You listen to the podcast to learn something new. The board notes on Substack is where we connect the dots and help you apply those lessons to your own brand. I've already published my first 5 articles and they're completely free to read. Just click the link in the show notes, subscribe, and start reading. I'd love to have you there.
And then I've really been talking about this a lot lately is doing some testing on new products. So growing your apparel line is, of course, the next step. Once you've maybe handled those first 2 things, you've figured out what you need to learn, you've invested some dollars there. You've got a team under you who is operating just smoothly. Every day is starting to feel easier and easier. Once you are getting to that point, now we do want to look at your product line. We want to look at what your customers are asking for. We want to look at what gaps are in your market that you could fill with your brand. We want to look at what gaps are in your product line. We want to look at what items are selling as well as they used to. So maybe they need to be replaced. Maybe they need to be redesigned. Maybe they need a new fabric update. Maybe the fit isn't great and you need to check that. So as we then start taking investment dollars and putting it toward product, we want to buy smaller batches of things that we want to test, see how it sells. Does it sell out like in a month and we need inventory again right away? Or does it take us a year to sell through something that should have gone much, much faster? Our customers will give us signals on all of those new products. And by doing it slower and in smaller batch testing, you're going to have much more data and a much easier way forward on how to spend those investment dollars bigger and better over time. Now, let's say you have a best-selling product that is flying off the shelves. You can't keep it in your warehouse. People keep buying it over and over again. They're telling all their friends and family about it. This is the time to really amplify that piece by putting more money behind it. So when something is proven to be right, like, and we do this even in our business, right? Like once we have a system that's working, once we have a funnel that is selling really well, we'll put ad dollars on it, basically putting fuel on the fire. So if you have a best-selling product that your customers love, you're becoming famous for it, putting fuel on that fire with those investment dollars can be really, really smart. But what I see too often is that people decide to scrap their entire line, redesign the whole thing, redevelop the whole thing, start with something completely fresh, start from scratch, and put all of their money into it. And then what I see happen, still unfortunately, is that their loyal customers who have been there for the last however many years that they've been slowly developing their line, building their community, start to disappear because they don't resonate with this new product line anymore. They don't resonate with what is being put out into the market. They don't resonate with you anymore because you've totally changed your message. You've totally changed how you're doing everything. And now you're rebuilding from scratch with a product line that you know nothing about. I was on Instagram the other day and I had a brand. I was reading something from a brand who was saying, we spent $100,000 on our first inventory run and we don't even know if anybody's going to buy it yet. Wasn't that such a huge risk? And I think they were trying to get like a bunch of eyeballs on that post by it being kind of like, oh my God, what are these people doing? And it hurt my heart. It's like, what could you have done with that $100,000 instead? You could have done amazing testing. You could have hired a fantastic product developer. You could have gone in and joined the board and learned everything that you needed to learn so that you didn't waste probably $85,000 of that $100,000. So if you are looking for an investor and you're looking to bring in a bunch of money at your brand, I want you to really check yourself on what the next steps are. Don't imagine that you are all of a sudden going to order thousands and thousands of extra units for your brand that are going to automatically sell. If that is what your customers are signaling to you, if you have data on that and you know, like you've had items that are on back order for years, you've had money left on the table and you know that, that's a different scenario. If you are ready for a $5 million investment because you know that you need that inventory to be able to actually fulfill the amount of orders that people are asking for from you, that is different. If you can get to that point, more power to you. But very few of us are there. Most of us don't 100% know how our customers are going to react to a new product line coming out from us. So testing it, moving a little bit slower, having a plan is the smartest way to go. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about today is the news that we heard recently, and this was a few months ago now, but that we heard about Everlane and Shein. And I know I'm saying Shein wrong. I don't know. Shein. I hear it said all the different ways. So if you want to correct me, please put a comment down below and let me know that I'm saying it stupidly. That's totally cool with me. And what Everlane was doing was creating a community based around transparency and sustainability. We want you to know what our clothing is made of. We want you to know that we're doing it ethically. We want you to know that we're doing it eco-friendly. And they started to get into some financial trouble. I think it was last year, they decided to do a big fundraising round and they got a whole bunch of money that they blew through really fast because they were in a ton of debt. And how do you get into that much debt? You just buy inventory that you don't need, that you can't sell. I mean, it's really as simple as that. You are designing and developing styles that your customers aren't asking for, that you are just trying to add more junk to your line, and you aren't intelligently crafting a collection that would fill their closet. You were just giving them a whole bunch of stuff that they wouldn't actually wear. You're confusing your customer. When they come to your website, they're not super stoked on what you're putting out, or they're not buying it because it's too expensive, or they're not buying it because it's too cheap. There are a multitude of reasons as to why you can get into that much debt, but usually it's because you're creating products that your customers aren't resonating with, right? And so all of that inventory is actually sitting on your shelf. After they did their fundraising round and they couldn't quite get fully out of debt, they decided to sell to Shein. And Shein is the complete opposite of transparency and sustainability, right? Like they are the worst offenders, in my opinion, when it comes to fast fashion. They don't pay attention to sustainability or eco-friendly or ethics in any way. And so the partnership of those two brands, I am predicting right now, and a lot of people are predicting right now, that it is 100% the end of Everlane. And they've come out and said, we're going to still totally operate independently. We're just taking their money. And nobody believes that. And I think the fact that they were willing to take money from a company that was so opposite to their values was signing their death warrant. I mean, it was a suicide note at the end of the day. And I think Everlane will go away quite quickly, because I think a lot of the people who I've talked to who were shopping Everlane won't shop there anymore, because they know that at the end of the day, the money is actually going to Shein, their parent company. So there's a bit of that too. When you are looking for investors, if you're looking for money, making sure that you get into bed with someone who shares values with you, someone who is aligned with where your position is in the marketplace. Because if your customers find out that you have an investor who doesn't align with you, just like Everlane and Shein, like I think you are going to see a mass exodus of people from your brand. Whatever loyal customers you have curated, whatever community you have built is going to leave quickly. People don't trust anybody anymore. It is really, really hard to build a community these days that trusts you. And if you even have a little bit of that, if you have been building that and you even have like a small pie slice of someone's trust, that is one of the fastest ways to break it. And people just don't come back anymore. It's one of the reasons I talk about fit all the time. I'll digress here just for a little bit. But if you aren't taking fit seriously at your company, if you don't have your graded measurements buttoned up, if you don't have a body size chart on your website, if you aren't running through detailed fittings with an actual technical designer who knows what they're talking about, you're just letting your factory do it, or you're just kind of winging it, and your customer gets a garment that doesn't fit them, you have broken that trust immediately. That garment that the threads are coming out of, that the neck is wrinkling on, that fell apart, that got a hole in the pocket immediately, that it got a hole in the fabric immediately, that didn't fit their body right, that didn't look like the photo that you had online, that didn't live up to their expectations. As soon as you deliver that to them, you've broken any trust that you've built with them. And the chances of them coming back are basically gone. There is no chance of them coming back to shop your brand ever again, probably, because that's how the world works today. So putting out products, making partnerships, making deals, being in alignment with your own values when it comes to who you're working with, what kind of stuff you are putting out in the world, and then being smart about your money is all so, so important in today's ever competitive fashion market. So if you're thinking about selling your brand or going to find an investor or, heaven forbid, quote, selling out, I want you to be really careful, because I don't want you to go down the rabbit hole of basically just ending your brand. That is the last thing I want to see. And if you want more help with financial decisions like this or partnership deals like this, and there's more information that you think we could share with you, I invite you to come join the Apparel Founders Board. We would love to have you as our very next member. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast here today. I hope it helped you a little bit, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for listening to the Business of Apparel podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, consider leaving the show a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you know someone who could benefit from listening to the show, please share it with them. My biggest desire is to help other apparel professionals understand the nuances of our industry so we can all work towards simplifying our brands while becoming more profitable. If you would like to connect further, I'd love to invite you to send me a message through my website, thebusinessofapparel.com/contact, where you can also sign up for our free weekly newsletter and become an insider in our community to help you start and scale a profitable apparel brand.